Hey guys, how's everyone doing? This is Sir Jedi Sentinel, and welcome back to Sentinel Reviews. It's time. Big Finish has released the third installment in their celebration of Doctor Who's 60th anniversary, Once and Future. Today we are looking at A Genius for War, released in July 2023, written by Jonathan Morris, directed by Helen Goldwyn. A Genius for War stars Sylvester McCoy as the Seventh Doctor and Terry Malloy as Davros. Also featured in the cast are Beth Chalmers and Ken Bones. Before we begin, I just would like to say that I have a cold right now, so my vocal quality might sound off, my voice might not sound right normal, and I may be prone to coughing fits. We'll just see how that goes and try to get through this as quickly as possible. Also, as always, because I do these unscripted, I am putting a blanket spoiler warning in place, just in case I decide to talk about spoilers. A Genius for War is, objectively, I think it might be the best story we've had so far, but that being said, I think I still like the artist at the end of time more. I like the emotional beats and the commentary of the artist at the end of time. So while I think technically A Genius for War is the better story, I think I like the artist at the end of time just more because I connected with it a little bit more. So what is the story of A Genius for War? Well, the Doctor, still going through his degeneration, seems to have stabilized in his seventh incarnation for now, just in time for him to be pulled out of time by the Time Lords. In the midst of the Time War, it looks like Davros is willing to surrender to the Time Lords and supply them with a means of ending the conflict. Of course, this being Davros, the Doctor doesn't trust him for a moment. The performances are once again spectacular here, especially between Sylvester McCoy and Terry Malloy. They are the two standouts of this particular story. Just this game of chess they're playing. The Doctor knows Davros is lying, that he's got another scheme in mind. He just can't figure out what it is. And that's kind of rare for the Seventh Doctor, actually, because the Seventh Doctor is the master manipulator. He is the grand chess master. And this story really sees him on the back burner because he's not in a situation where he can maneuver himself into the outcome he wants. He's basically forced to lose his one advantage, his ability to pre-plan and come up with alternate plans, and basically make things up on the go while more and more of Davros' scheme gets revealed. And that cat and mouse game between the Seventh Doctor and Davros is really what makes this story work. There are some other good things here. Ken Bones is back as the General from stories like Day of the Doctor and Hellbent. And he's really good here. We get a little bit more of his character than we usually see. What's a good way to explain it? We usually kind of just see him in a war room, kind of commentating on things, saying, oh, we need the Doctor, and things like that. He's never really been an active participant, at least in the TV episodes I remember. And here he is, so it's really interesting to see that expansion on him. And also to see him on the outs with the Doctor. Like, when Davros makes his proposal to help end the Time War, while the General considers it, the Doctor is vehemently against it. And he warns the General, it's like, if you don't like me as an ally, you're going to hate me as an enemy. Also, Beth Chalmers, Veclin is in this. I wasn't expecting that, and I was pleasantly surprised. I don't think I've ever talked about her in any video. Veclin is a recurring character throughout Big Finish. She first showed up in the John Hurt War Doctor stuff. She is a Time Lord soldier, essentially. Excuse me. And, like I said, she's played by Beth Chalmers, and she's shown up repeatedly in a bunch of stuff. Like, she was in the War Doctor stuff. I believe she's in the 8th Doctor Time War stuff. I think she was in Gallifrey. And I know she was in one story in the 8th Doctor story arc, Doom Coalition. I really like Veclin. I think she's kind of... Oh, she was also in Susan's War. I really like Veclin. She's a very interesting character. Beth Chalmers gives a really good performance, and she's almost... It's almost like she's she's kind of a weird inverse of Leela, I feel, you know? She's this Time Lord dedicated to the cause. She's always on a whenever she shows up, she's always on a mission following her own orders. And it always seems like the Doctor, or Susan, in the case of Susan's War, always kind of expands her horizons and kind of humanizes her a little bit. She's a fascinating character. Also, Sylvester McCoy in this story. This is one of his better performances in a long time. It feels like because so many Seventh Doctor stories go into the gap after the end of Classic Who, where, you know, in that final season and sort of going forward, he really sort of started forming into that darker, brooding, again, Grand Chessmaster persona. A lot more stories lean into that than sort of the sillier, clownier, early characterization McCoy had in his first few seasons. And oftentimes, because stories really lean into that darker, later characterization of the Seventh Doctor, it's become a bit stale, at least to me. And I'm pretty sure to Sylvester McCoy as well. Like, I believe there's even interviews of him saying he prefers the earlier characterization. And it oftentimes feels like in Seventh Doctor audios, it feels like McCoy's on autopilot. Like, he's not really putting in a performance, he's just going through the beats. McCoy's performance in this story is very lively. It's got this energy to it. It's almost sort of a season 25 characterization. He's leaning into that darker chessmaster persona, but he's still got some of those earlier clownish aspects to him. It's kind of a best of both worlds, and as I said, McCoy just has this energy to his performance that I feel like he's kind of been lacking for a while. The Daleks are used to great effect here. We get some really good psychology about the Daleks and about Davros. This is another really strong Davros story. And it helps that, like, compared to Dalek stories, there isn't a lot of Davros stories. Like, we get one every so often, I think. Let me see. So we had... Oh, what was the first Davros story? I think it actually was Davros. So, like, we've had Davros... The Juggernauts. Shoot, what was the name of the Eighth Doctor story?
Spoilers!
Oh, shoot, I didn't mute my phone either. So you just heard my notification sound. So let's see, we've had Davros, the Juggernauts, Terra Firma, that's the Eighth Doctor story. I think it was The Curse of Davros. No, I don't think it was that. It was a Sixth Doctor and Flip story. We had the Eighth Doctor Time War 4. We had Dalek Universe. The point is, there has not been a lot of Davros stories, so he hasn't been run into the ground and become stale like the Daleks have. Also, to his benefit, he's played by Terry Malloy. Wow, I can't believe I blanked on that. He's played by Terry Malloy, who, of the 4 actors we've had, is my favorite Davros. Just because he's gotten to expand on the role and take it into many different directions. The direction in this story is God complex. Davros feels the Daleks should be indebted to him, but because, you know, the Daleks see themselves as the superior beings, they feel they don't need their creator. Even though they keep bringing him back because they need their creator. That's what I mean by the kind of... There's some interesting psychology with the Daleks going on here. And also, just... You know, the Daleks have imprisoned Davros because Davros always kind of takes them over. You know, he convinces them to follow him, and because of the Daleks' puritanical viewpoints, they can't have that. So Davros has come up with his own scheme, which is really insane, in a good way. Like, I don't want to spoil what it is, so... I think I'm just going to go in the wrap up here because I'm starting to go around in circles. A Genius for War is a strong story boosted by really good performances, especially from Terry Malloy and Sylvester McCoy. And that's all I really have to say about it. It's got good action, it's paced fairly well, it's got some great ideas, and it explores them really good. But those are just my thoughts. Have you heard of Genius for War? Start a conversation in the comments below. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, Click the bell next to subscribe to get notifications when I upload, and share the video around. All of it helps my channel grow. This is Sir Jedi Sentinel, and I'll see you guys next time, because next month, it is finally the 6th Doctor's turn. He'll be making a very unusual team-up in Two's Company.